Island, Illinois is a community blessed with great historic architecture. This old Mississippi River town, with roots back to the Sauk and Meskwaki Native American settlements, was officially incorporated in 1841. Only one building of that period remains in our city, the old stone house at Sauckie Golf Course. Primarily, the oldest buildings in Rock Island are from the 1850s. 3 are Rock Island landmarks. The remaining few are left to the notions of current caretakers, some of whom will be gracious and good to the old buildings, while others will destroy them, either deliberately or through neglect. The Rock Island Preservation Commission has been designating landmarks since 1984. It might surprise you to learn which of our old friends are protected by the city's preservation ordinance, the surprising ones that aren't, and how it is determined which buildings are worth protecting. We've all seen it, the grand building reduced to rubble for a parking lot. It happens a lot in other communities, but only rarely in Rock Island. Many credit that to the Historic Preservation Program that takes education seriously, partnered with economic success and a strong protective ordinance. Decision makers recognize that Rock Island has a special sense of time and place, which is an asset to the community. However, in the end, sometimes education and economics don't matter. At some point, it is about heritage and beauty and retaining those pieces of the past for everyone. Making a dynamic future for Rock Island sometimes means preserving its past. And the way to make sure that we don't lose buildings and neighborhoods forever is to designate them as Rock Island landmarks or Rock Island historic districts. The important question of why we should preserve is perhaps best answered by what happens if we don't. When we don't protect buildings, they may be lost or irreversibly altered. Some of the grandest architecture of Rock Island is now gone, or so badly modified that the intrinsic value of the building is diminished. Although the pace of that loss in Rock Island has slowed, the threat of it is never gone. These buildings and landscapes can never be replaced. They are relegated to history books instead of existing on our streets as vibrant parts of the community. We preserve buildings in many ways. Attitude, education, restoration, and regulation are very important to success. First and foremost, the community needs to show a caring attitude toward our old friends. In Rock Island, we are very fortunate to have a broad-based group of citizens interested in older buildings and older neighborhoods. While not every group is interested in strict landmark regulation, all are interested in the health of Rock Island's mature neighborhoods, and a historic preservation ethic is an important part of neighborhood and downtown revitalization. Education is another tool of historic preservation. Tours, publications, and workshops are all used to educate Rock Island residents about our worthy architecture. An added bonus is that the #2 tourism destination in the Quad Cities is historical attractions, second only to the Mississippi River. So there is an additional audience for the showiest of our old friends. Special tours bring people to landmarks, restored buildings, and preserved sites. From Broadway's popular tour of homes to Chipianic's cemeteries, epitaphs brought to life, people flock by the thousands to special events designed to show off these unique places. The Preservation Commission, never a group to ignore an opportunity to put landmark buildings in the public eye, even designed a special John Looney Legend Tour to capitalize on the release of a major motion picture where Rock Island's most notorious gangster was the inspiration for a lead character. The Preservation Commission has written over a dozen grants to help bring the personality of buildings to life through a series of walking tour brochures on Rock Island's history and architecture. You can find most of these brochures at Rock Island City Hall and the Rock Island Public Library. Hands-on workshops are another educational tool that lead people directly into the third method of preservation, restoration. Historic also means old, and aged buildings need attention. It takes special people and special skills to maintain these antique treasures, and nothing is more thrilling than seeing an architectural gem brought back to its glory. Perhaps the most powerful of preservation tools is the Preservation Ordinance. What makes the Preservation Ordinance such a strong tool is that it protects historic buildings in perpetuity. The landmark, or historic district designation, is recorded with the property deed, so owners in perpetuity will know of the special classification. The architectural integrity of the historic building or landscape is protected through the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness, which provides for a review of all exterior changes to designated properties. The Preservation Commission has created design guidelines to help property owners understand the types of changes typically allowed. The Commission is not interested in making these buildings and neighborhoods into museums, so additions, new fences, and alterations are allowed. The Certificate of Appropriateness just makes sure that the changes are in keeping with the nature of the historic building and important, irreplaceable architectural features are not destroyed. Just as the Preservation Ordinance sets up criteria for the protection of designated landmarks, it sets up 6 criteria for what makes a building, site, or neighborhood worthy of designation. What kinds of buildings can become landmarks? 1. They may have significant historic, cultural, artistic, social, or ethnic value important to Rock Island or the rest of the country. So we see buildings like the Dimmick House, which once served as an orphanage, designated a landmark, or the Dr. Conrad Lindbergh House for its association with a person of national and international importance in the development of the Lutheran Church in the United States and in the theological education of Lutheran pastors in this country. Second, landmarks may be associated with an important historic person or event. Our landmarks feature the inventor of the sliding automobile clutch at the Borg House, the founder of the A.D. Husing Company, and a woman named Anna Olson, who is as famous for her pioneer children's books in Sweden as Laura Ingalls Wilder is here in the United States. The Preservation Commission can also designate landmarks primarily for their architectural value. We have buildings that show a broad range of period, style, and craftsmanship. We can enjoy the 1936 Eichlsdorfer House with its sophisticated French eclectic architecture, or the plain and functional Italianate style of the Atkinson House, which was built in the mid-1850s. Notable works of master builders or architects are also recognized as landmarks. There have been significant architects in Rock Island over the decades: Benjamin Horne, Olaf Servine, William Steuer, Leonard Drack, Rudolf Sandberg, Edward Hammett, and Frederick Clausen. One of the most notable was George Studehar, the designer of more than 200 Roman Catholic churches in the upper Mississippi Valley. He was known for his eclectic, romantic style and a variety of exterior finishes. Landmarks may also be designated as a well-known feature in the community due to their location or unique physical characteristics. For instance, everyone in town recognizes the Longview Apartments on 18th Avenue. But the Preservation Commission has also designated buildings such as the Centennial Bridge Commission Building and the Star Block for these reasons. The Centennial Bridge Commission Building is a modernistic building located at the foot of the Centennial Bridge, and the Star Block has been in downtown Rock Island since 1874, sporting the same fantastic Italianate window hoods and magnificent cornice. A rarely used designation criterion is that for utilitarian structures. The Preservation Commission has designated the Illinois Oil Products Building under this criterion, but other eligible buildings could include farmhouses, barns, or early gas stations. Finally, areas that have yielded archaeological information are also eligible to be landmarked. The Preservation Commission also recognizes the importance of entire neighborhoods in conveying a sense of time and place. While individual buildings may not meet heightened criteria for significance, as a collection, these buildings tell the story of what a neighborhood of the 1920s or 1890s was like. Just as neighborhoods have the potential to be local historic districts, there are some important, outstanding Rock Island structures that are unprotected by the Preservation Ordinance. Are these future landmarks? Centennial Bridge, the first 4-lane bridge across the Mississippi River and an icon of the Quad Cities. Tomes House, home of the founder of Tomes Pressler Company and one of the few Art Moderne residences in the city. Boss House, home of the Corps of Engineers photographer who took blue cyanotypes showing the Mississippi River before the lock and dam system altered it forever. His photography collection is valued at more than $2 million. Dankman Memorial Library, now known as Wallenberg Hall. This Beaux Arts beauty was donated by the Dankman family heirs and is owned by Augustana College. West End Settlement. Modeled after Hull House, Suzanne Dankman Hallberg founded this social experiment that assisted poor women and children in Rock Island. Its prairie-style architecture is outstanding. National City Bank Building is the only modernistic curtain wall construction building in downtown Rock Island. Architect William Steuer was clearly influenced by the master of modern skyscrapers, Chicago's Mies van der Rohe. Do you know an old friend that should be protected? Do you think these buildings, their history and beauty, are important to the future of Rock Island? If so, get involved. Join the Rock Island Preservation Society or a neighborhood association. Volunteer at a home tour, Hallberg Civic Center, or Chippeanic Cemetery, or nominate a building to be a Rock Island landmark.